Alright, let's do it. Let's paint some watercolors tonight. Tonight I'm going to try to do a couple of pieces of peppermint candy. You can see them there. Obviously not to scale. The little candy is much larger than it should be, and the candy cane, in order to fit on there, it's a little bit smaller than probably it needs to be, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. So tonight I'm going to be using my Prima watercolors set to do this. My little travel set, here it is. And this is the Tropicals set, and I'm using this basically because it's convenient, first of all, and I like this color of red. I'm going to use this as the red for my peppermint on here, so I'm going to use that. But mostly it fits, oh, wrong way. It fits in here pretty nicely and easy for you to see. And then I'm using my, what are these? Winsor & Newton University brushes. I've actually had these for, wow, like a decade, and I pull them out every now and again, and these were the ones I bought when I first started painting. I really like them. I don't know if they're specifically watercolor brushes, but that's what I started with, and we're going to go with that. So let's get started with a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit bigger brush. This is number 4, and I'm going to start by painting just with some plain water. Oops, I got a drip already. Just some plain water. Here we go. On the inside of my peppermint candy here. Just about something like that. And I want to do that because when I come and I put my red on, which is, whoa, where's it at? There it is. Maybe I went in a little too close. When I put my red on, I want it to be solid on the sides here and then just blend in the center there just a little bit. Might have it a little too damp, but we're going to give it a shot. So I'm going to mix up my red. This is the one I want. Unfortunately, Prima doesn't give us names for their reds. They give us numbers, and I've lost my sheet. I don't recall what this number is. But I'm going to do this, actually mix it a little bit thicker than I want. I'm going to keep a little bit of water up here. And you can see I've drawn it just with kind of equidistant spaces on here. I want to drop a little bit of color on there. Yeah, it's going out just a little bit more than I wanted. I'm going to tap a little bit of that off. That's okay. I think we're good from there. Drop a little bit of color on the side, up over the rim, and I'm kind of painting just kind of in a little arc like this. I want, when you look at this painting, I want you to be able to see that there's just a little bit of contour to this. There we go. And maybe we got a little bit more water. Maybe I shouldn't have made it quite so wet. We'll be fine with it. We're just going to let it go and do what it's going to do. Let's see, where's my next one? Here it is. Right up there. I hope I got, I should say I hope I have the right number of spaces here. I didn't really count them. And yeah, I think it's going to work out. There we go, just painting in that slight arc. We're going to come back, we're going to have to come back, and we're going to darken these up just a little bit. I'm going to leave my red paint right there. I got a little tiny bit of a run out the side. And while we're waiting for this to dry, and this is running all in, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop down to, what is this? This is a 0. I'm going to get just a little bit thicker paint, and I'm going to put it right down on the edge here. So make it, I think this will make it a little bit easier later on. And also, this is going to allow me to get that arc in there, to establish that arc just a little bit better. Get a little bit more detail in there with this. There we go. And just a little thicker, a little heavier right along that outside edge. We can get it to go to a little bit more of a point. There we go, just like that. I think that looks better already. Okay, so the next thing we need to do on our little candy here is we need to mix up, a little bit of a blue-gray color. Oh, okay. Let me get a little bit bigger brush to mix with. Just going to take the blue and, believe it or not, just a little bit of my brown. I need to mix my own gray. There we go. I'm going to lighten that with just the tiniest little bit of yellow, a little bit more blue. There we go. Let's see. I hope you can see my blue in here. So my gray that I've just made is a little bit more on the blue side, but it's still pretty watery here. I don't want it real, I don't want it real dark. Okay, and I'm going to come back over here. I'm just going to dab. I'm going to go back to my same 0 brush, and I'm going to decide on this painting what I want the light to come in and where I want my shadows, and this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to imagine that wherever I've drawn a crinkle line on here, I'm going to put a hard edge, and then I'm immediately going to follow that by just blending that out just as far as it'll go, all the way to the next mark. There we go. And then I'm just going to repeat that on a number of these other ones. Just draw your line, dip your brush in your water, tap it off on a towel, on a paper towel if you got one. I've got a cloth towel over there that I'm using. Just dab it off. We just want just ever so slight amount of water on there. Not much at all, and that'll help to pull that color right out. Just grab it and pull it right out. There we go. And by keeping a hard edge on one side of this, oh, I just looked up. Maybe you can't see that. All right, here we go. By keeping a hard edge on one side of this and letting it blend all the way to the other side, you'll create this crinkle pattern on it. Oh, that might be a little dark. We'll take care of it. We might have to go back a little bit and adjust this. That's totally fine. No big deal. It is watercolors. If we start out light like we're doing here, we can totally go back and change it later. We can add more layers of paint to it. We can correct things. We can take stuff off if we need to. There we go. Just put that on, and as we're doing it, you can tell right away as you look at it that all of a sudden now we've got some color on there, some crinkle, some folds in that plastic. See, maybe I can do a couple at once here. I don't like to do too many because all of a sudden the paint starts to dry. It's cold here, and I've turned the heater on in the studio, and it's starting to dry things out, so everything's going to dry for me pretty quickly. Let's see, I'm going to go here. So if I do that, if I try to do more than one piece, I could run into a problem where I have a hard line. It's not that big of a deal. We can always go back and fix it, but maybe we don't want to have to deal with that. We just want to get our candy painted and done with, and enjoy the time we're doing it and not have to worry about anything else. There we go. Let's see, I got another one I can do over here, and if they're not perfect, I just went outside the line here. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect. I'm not going to worry about it. Like I said, we can come back and we can do a little bit more later. We can always fix it. let's see, something like that. I got one more I'll do right here, and then I'll move back. Oh, something like that. All right, so that's our first layer of crinkle on there. I think I'm gonna put some on the center of our candy here too, but I'm gonna start with that. But before I move on, I'm gonna come back to my red. Let's see, I can zoom out a little bit now. I'm gonna come back to my red. That's here. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna intensify the color just right around the side. Just basically I'm going to do the same thing. I just want it a little bit redder. Everything that's on this side of it, if that makes sense. So everything that is around the bend of this candy, right? We're painting basically a disc. So everything that is not on the top of this, I'm just going to give a little bit of extra color to here. There we go. And I know I said that it's going to dry. I'm just going to dab that edge before it dries out here. And it's just going to soften it. It's not going to do anything else. Just soften that edge ever so slightly. There we go. And see, I got a little bit up here. We're just over the edge and something like that. I'm going to soften that edge. I was hoping that would pull it up just a little bit more. Hasn't quite come over the edge, so like I said, it's watercolor. All we're going to do is go back and make a slight change. I just want that color to come over that edge just ever so slightly. So I'm going back and I'm putting on just a touch more, and then I'm going to go back and soften that edge. There we go, and you can see me just working my way around to do that. This little brush doesn't carry much water. Even when it's fully loaded, it doesn't carry much water, so I almost don't have to do too much to dab it off and dry it that little bit. Okay, there's our piece of candy. Now I'm going to go up to my blue color. I hope you guys can see this. I changed my studio around a little bit, and I think my lighting isn't as good as it used to be, and I can't quite figure out why, because I have all the same lights. So what I'm going to do is my blue color, really light, just lighten that way down. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to drop a little bit of blue along the side here, just so you know that it's kind of in the shadow. There you go. Connect all those pieces. Just, we could do a little bit up here too. That's kind of more, I guess that would be more in the line of light, so I'm not going to do so much there. But these other ones you can do, and then we'll take that same blue color and I'm going to come back, excuse me, on our crinkle, and I'm going to do the opposite side of our crinkle and blend that out. There we go. This will be a better one to see, I think. There we go. So we have it a little bit gray on one side and a little bit blue on the other side of each crinkle fold. I'm not sure what you call it. Each wrinkled piece of plastic in there. There and there. And just, I don't want those to be too much. There we go. We just want it to give enough indication in there that there is some folding. It's something a little bit different about that area. Oops, let's see. I hope you can still see me. I know I've turned my painting a little bit. I'm hoping it's not going to bother you too much that I've done that. There we go. And just let me get a nice graded wash on there. There we go. It's looking good. Believe it or not, this one is almost done. Okay, I'm trying to pick up the pace because I just looked at the time and I realized I've still got to do my candy cane. And I want to be able to get that done too for you. There we go. So if we look at that now, we can see, if we look at it right side up, you'll be able to see it better. We've got some crinkling on there. And what you can actually do even more than that is we can go across the top of this, since it's dry, and put on, you got to be brave, put on a line over here. Now this will look like a crease that goes all the way across this candy. Maybe I need to get a little bit bigger brush to do this with. I can't blend that out. Oh, there we go. That's better. That's blending better. There we go. That goes all the way across. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of blue on this side. And just pull that one all the way out too. And it adds a little bit to it. Now you can see that it looks like there's a fold right along the center there. Okay. Now, believe it or not, our candy cane is much easier. Okay. So there's a lot less to do, a lot less going on in the candy cane. I've already pre-drawn it. We all know the shepherd's hook design. You want to paint a candy cane? This is how easy it is. So I've decided to go with a 2-stripe pattern. There we go, something like that. Uh-oh. Had a dab of water there. A 2-stripe pattern. So if you've watched Wreck-It Ralph, you know, don't touch the 2-stripe pattern. The 2-stripe pattern breaks. I guess maybe you only understand that if you've got kids, and if, like I do, and you've had to watch Wreck-It Ralph, oh, I don't know, 40 times or so. That's okay. It's a funny movie. It's cute. I really didn't mind watching it all that much. Okay, so there's my first stripe. And I'm actually kind of hoping to make my second stripe a little thinner. I'm going to reach over. Here we go. And I'm going to grab a liner brush. I didn't have this set out to begin with. I didn't tell you about it. But this is a Grumbacher number 2 liner brush. This might have made it easier to do the whole thing. There we go. I could have made that first stripe a little bit fatter, I guess. It would have made a big difference in my second stripe. Turn it over. Here we go. Oh, I missed a whole stripe here. All right. And the same thing as before. I'm going to come back and I'm just going to dab down on the bottom of my big fat stripe. I want to add a little extra color on the shadow side of it. I know it's gonna go up into it. That's okay. It can run right up all at once. I'm not gonna worry about it. And now while I'm waiting for that red to dry, I'm gonna get my bigger Winsor & Newton brush. And I'm gonna make a bluey purple puddle here So I'm just using straight purple from here, and I'm going to go back to my blue and use both of these in a generous amount of water. It's a little too purple. That's better. And I'm going to use this as my shadow. I'm still using it's nice and soupy. It's not very strong at all, as you'll see when I put this on. And we're just going to lay this out right around our piece of candy. We're going to do it to the candy cane too. But while we're waiting for that to dry, we're just going to put it right over here. There we go. And same thing as before. I'm just going to soften up that edge a little bit. When I say same thing, what we're doing is I'm getting my brush wet, cleaning the color out of it, and just tapping it on a towel so it's only damp. And then you can rub it right along that edge where it would make a hard edge. But you're not going to allow it to do that now. You're taking that hard edge away. And you've got a simple, easy little shadow on what you're doing. What's nice about this is we didn't use a color that's too strong for our shadow, so that if you need to, you can scrub a little bit and take it right away, and it won't be a big deal at all. So I'm looking at my candy cane, and I've got a little puddle of red here, but I'm going to try and force the issue a little bit, just to save a little bit of time. And I'm going to put my shadow on here. I'm using the same color, and I just touched it. I was going to say, I'm just going to stay away from that just a little bit. If we touch it, that's fine. When it dries, you'll barely see it. I've got a little bit up here that I need to put on. There we go. And the same thing as before. Just get your brush wet, dab it off. And while it's just damp, just rub it back and forth over what you just did. Take that hard edge away. We want to make sure we don't have that hard edge. Basically what we're saying is we don't have a hard light shining on our subject here. We just have a very soft, diffuse light shining on it. There we go. Like it's set up on the side over here in our studio, and we're painting from real life, but in actuality we're not. Well, you might be, I don't know, I'm not. I'm kind of just going from memory here. And there's my candy cane. I still have the one glob of paint there that's still wet, but what I want to do is I'm just going to go into, just like I did before, we move it up here, come out just a little bit. Just going to go into just a little bit of this blue, just ever so light blue, mostly water, a little bit of blue, and we're going to put a little bit of color on the shadow side of our candy cane, only on the white. You can put it on the red if you need to, if it's easier for you. I think just putting it on a white brightens it up a little bit. There we go. And because we're using two different colors, a straight blue and a kind of a purple blue, we're going to be able to tell the difference when it's on our painting. There we go. Whoops, let me just like that. And in no time at all, you've added a nice shadow line to the inside of your candy cane. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back and you could darken the shadow at the bottom. You could darken it here where it's on the table or the flat surface that this piece of candy is sitting on, and you could darken it on the candy cane itself. Oh, it just touched right there. Look at that. That's okay, we can pick that out. We're just going to brush a little bit of water in there. Let me zoom you in. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I just touched with my shadow color and got a little bit of the red, a back run of that red. So I'm just going to re-add a little bit of blue. I just damped it off with my brush, took it out a little bit, and now I'm going to come back in, just add that tiny little bit of purple here where I had the run, and do the same thing, damp off, just touch and just get a damp brush, and just like that we fixed it. There it is. Somebody's going to look at that. If you don't tell them there's a mistake there, nobody's ever going to know. So there we go. A quick little painting of some peppermint candy. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed having you in the studio again tonight. I hope to see you again next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.